It's time to do some scratching for week 4. So here we are again on the left, the pseudocode from the week 4 pseudocode video. And on the right, a new blank slate to create a program in Scratch. So let's start it out again with the creation of some variables. Gosh, we should just leave the ones from last time, huh? How many numbers? Total. Something that's different here is an array. In Scratch, we have something called a list. Pretty close. Okay. We need our number to add. We need total. Let's start out with that. Total already exists. Oh, I already put it in there. All right. Let's see. It looks like I got index. Index as well. All right. Good enough. Let's start with a green flag. And as we go along here, you guys should be doing this in your sleep by now. Maybe not in your sleep. How many numbers to add? Answer. All right. So we used a for loop last time. Let's use a for loop again. Or really a repeat. And how many are we going to repeat? We're going to repeat based on how many numbers. Inside our loop, we're going to ask the user for enter a number to add. And that number is going to end up getting put in number to add from answer. Got it? And what we could have done instead of that is put the number directly into the array. So we could have done this instead. So I'm going to take this out and I'm going to put this in. And that's just going to add whatever they enter directly into the array. What does that mean? Well, that means we don't even need that number to add variable this time around. Okay, so what we've got so far is we're finding out how many numbers we want to add. We're going to go through that number of times, ask the user to enter a number, and put it directly in the array. So by the end of this, we have an array. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to use a loop to total the array elements, okay, as a separate item. So we could, so with the for loop, or with the repeat here, we could use the repeat again, and we know how many times, but the problem is that we need to use index to tell it which element of the array to pull back. So that means we really have to use the repeat and tell in this particular case. And let's set index, I don't have to drag that, do I, to 0. Now remember that an array is 0 filled, right? It starts with 0. So we're going to repeat and tell our index is greater than, or we could do equal to. Let's see. Actually, in this case, we're going to use another new little variable here, another new element of a list, and it's called the length of the array. So I'm going to say the length of the array minus 1. The reason why I'm doing that is because we're starting at 0 instead of starting at 1. Okay, so inside of here we just have a set total. Remember we did this before. Oops. Total plus 1, and we have to make sure that we increment index. Oops, we can use this one instead. Let's get rid of that one. Change index by 1. That way index keeps incrementing and finally we get there. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to display, let's do this one. I kind of like this one, think instead of say. We can do exactly the same thing with think as we can do with say. We're going to join these together and say the total of the numbers is, and get total out of here. Bonk. All right, let's make sure this works because this is a little more complicated in a way than what we've done in the past. So let's just try it out. Notice that we're showing this array here in this way. So the first thing we need to test is whether this number array is 0 indexed, meaning it starts with 0, or does it start with 1. So we're going to say 4, and then we're going to go 10, 20, 30, 40. All right. So it says the number is 4. So I wonder why that's the case. Well, the first thing is that this array is a 1 indexed array, and that is a little bit different than what you would have in pseudocode. But it does make the program a little simpler. And I did this again. I think I did this last time. All right, let's try it again, shall we? 4. I didn't even notice that. How many numbers do you want to add? All right, let's try it again. There we go, 4. 10, 20, 30. Ah, now look at that. Our array is continuing to fill, just like we had a problem with a while back on total. Remember that with total? So we have a similar problem with total. So we need to initialize a couple of things here. Let's initialize total first to 0. And down here, let's delete all in the array. Okay, so now let's give it a shot. All right, now look at that. We're starting out with some numbers here. All right, let's begin. How many numbers to add? 4, 10, 20, 30, 40. So it says the total number is 0. Now, why on earth would that be? It's going through our loop here. So we're starting with 1. 1, repeat until 1 is greater than this number. How about, first of all, let's set this to equals. I think it will make it better for us. Get this out of there. So the problem is with our repeat until, isn't it? We're going to set total equal to total plus. Well, we don't have a number to add, do we? What do we need to do? We need to pull out, let's see, yes, right here. Dump that out of there. Item number index. Oops, wrong scroll here. All right, you guys knew what was going on, right? All right. So let's do it again. So we're going to repeat until index equals the number. We're going to set total equal to total plus the index item that I pulled out of the array. And then we're going to increment index, and then we're going to display it. All right, let's give it another shot, shall we? 10, 20, 30, 40. Total of the numbers is 40. Why would that be? Or 60. That means they missed the last one. Well, that's because it was equal to here before it went through. You see that? So I was tricking you a little bit on that to see if you could work through and debug it. All right. So with that in mind, let's go back to the greater than. There we go. And let's run it one more time. This should get us there. All right, 10, 20, 30, 40. There we go. The total of the numbers is 100. So what I wanted to show you here is a little bit of logic about debugging a problem when you have one, because let's face it, we're all going to have them. And the thing is that in pseudocode, because you can't execute the code, sometimes you don't know that the logic is bad. And so I would highly recommend that you go through these same steps with your own code before you submit it. That will help you to really understand whether the logic is right before you submit it.